say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poorest part. Bright light, city lights, I gotta make it, this is where it goes down. I just happen to come up hard. Legal or illegal, baby, I gotta make it.
What's good, family? Welcome back to another edition of Power After Hours, your favorite power podcast. I'm Jeff J on this side, Chrissy Bree on the other side, and we are finally here, y'all. We're here to talk about the series finale of Power Book 2 Ghost. Shout out to the chat gang, shout out to the audio gang, and of course, the replay gang that's tapping in to catch all of this after the fact. We got love for each and every one of you that has been on this journey with this show with us. And as always, you know where to catch us. YouTube.com, Power After Hours channel. Y'all should like, y'all should comment, y'all should subscribe. I insisted that our community brings a friend to come through at 6 p.m. today to talk about power. I hope y'all friends is in the building. I hope they join the chat, and I hope they join what's going to be a really dope discussion. Chrissy, how you feeling?
Feeling good, man. I'm a little out of sorts because I'm not in my normal getup. I'm in a hotel right now at a conference, but I'm happy to be here. I was not going to miss talking about the series finale of book 2. I had to lock in with you guys, so I'm glad to be here. How are you feeling tonight, Jeff?
I'm feeling good. It's a weird moment, right? Feeling a little bittersweet because we see one of our series end, but I am happy as always to talk about Power. It's really dope. I was fiending to talk about this episode after 1 a.m. And it to tell y'all, to give you a sense of how locked in the Power community was. Power was trending at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
After the show aired in its midnight slot on Friday, nothing but Power hashtags were flooding Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. It was trending. People were already having discussions. Y'all are really quick with the clips because they got clips out there immediately. 101, all the clips were on the timeline. So I hope if you weren't able to watch it at midnight, you stayed off social so nothing got spoiled for you, because this was a fascinating episode in the way a lot of things broke. And I know I get pissed with spoilers in general, but I would have been really heated if I got this episode spoiled when we've been waiting for it for the whole season. But we're here now. So that shows you. And shout out to my guy, Tyquel, Power TV fans. He was on it. I know my man had like the triple espresso. He napped, probably napped twice before so that he could go off. Going off into the wee hours of the morning talking about Power, but the fans were loving it, man. There's so many memes, like everybody was ready to go. So I loved that Power created another TV moment, especially in this era where the live viewing experience for non-sports events is pretty much a vestige of old times, like 10 years ago, where we don't really see it anymore. But those impactful shows can make a moment, and I think Power did it again.
Yeah, man, what a way to go out. Like, I refused to not watch it when it dropped because I didn't want it to get spoiled for me. I knew that everybody and their mama was finna be watching this finale. And kudos to how they handled this season, knowing that it was going to be the final season, the way they handled social media. I thought even the cast did a great job of promoting this season, getting the word out there. I mean, they were live when it was time to go. So I just feel like everything came together beautifully. And I love that everybody was just waiting for this to drop. It just goes to show you the reach that Power has for stars, but in general for TV. Like the fact that people waited for that. We don't really get that anymore because we live in the land of DVRs and streaming. So to see the impact that this show has had over the years, it really is something to revel in. I love every part of it.
I did too. As y'all know, as always, Twitter, Power After Hours, Instagram, Power After Hours. That's where you can find us. All of the call to action material is in our news ticker on the show. And if you're listening in audio, you should be over here listening in video too. Get both of the immersive experiences that you get with Power After Hours. Shout out to everybody in the chat. They was already going crazy for like hours beforehand talking about this. I know y'all ready to talk. So yeah, let's get right into it. Tell me, Chrissy, what you felt about this episode. And this may follow our normal format, this might not. This is gonna be a retrospective on the episode and the series. So we just gonna talk. We just gonna talk about it and talk about how we feel and talk about the series. So tell me first off with this episode, overall, what did you think?
We went into this episode with a lot of questions. There were a lot of different loopholes that we knew they had to fill if this was really truly going to be the end of Tariq's character or any of these characters. And I feel like they really did a great job of wrapping these characters up. I think of course, you get into the nitty gritty and people, critiquing things like Monet not having a funeral, but that wasn't necessary for what we needed from the show to deliver. I feel like they closed a lot of gaps. They answered a lot of questions. They gave us the story that we needed for a character like Tariq that we've seen from adolescence to now, college and being a man, killing his father to becoming now this kingpin and becoming a ghost himself. I think they really did a great job of tightening up everything and wrapping it with a beautiful bow, but at the same time, leaving us with just enough to say, is this really the end? Like, are they really wrapping this up? Because I feel like it left us with questions, but these weren't questions that were like, how you watch a series finale and you get pissed off because it ain't coming back. Mm-hmm. These were questions that they definitely are planning to do something with these characters. Like there's something coming in the future. And I really do believe that with how they chose to go about this finale. But I feel like they did these characters justice. Every character in this show got the ending that they deserved, I feel. And that they really grew into these characters, like just seeing Drew and his progression, Diana her progression. We didn't think the Tejada kids were all going to survive, and we get to see them all walk away into different facets of life, which is what Monet really would have wanted for her kids. So kudos to the writers for doing a great job of leaving us on the edge of our seats week after week with this show, but delivering a finale that gave us the answers that we as fans that have been riding with this show since the original OG Power, they gave us the answers that we needed. And I was personally satisfied with what we got.
Yeah. I could tell you my initial thought. My initial thought when the show ended and the credits started rolling. Yeah. Well, even when the post-credit scene hit, after the post-credit scene, I turned to Kelly, I turned to my wife, and I said, yo, Tariq won.
Yeah, you so did. I love it.
I straight said that. My mouth was open. I looked and I said, he did it.
He did it.
He really fucking did it. Tariq won. Yeah. He won, and now it seems like he's out to prove the point he's been trying to make since season 1, episode 1, that he is better than Ghost in each and every way, and he could be a more evolved person. But what is that? What is the price for being better than Ghost? What is that actually going to get you? And that's something we're going to talk about down the line. But let's overall I did like the episode. I think given everything that they had to go through, especially when a cancellation is sprung on you, I think they delivered a good series finale. I think it was solid. The way they wrapped things up as well. It was entertaining. It gave me the old Power vibes as well. I'm sure Nitpick Nation can get whatever they want off of anything that happened in the show, right? But I think overall, I thought it was a solid finale. And let's get into the finale. First off, I loved how they encapsulated the Tejada family
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how they were going to come together to essentially realize what Monet's dream was for all of them, to be tight as a family, to put family first, and to unify for a common cause. Now, it wasn't without any type of beef. Like, they was beefing with each other because Drew and Kane were both equally blaming each other for Monet's loss before they were able to come together and figure out what they needed to do in order to rectify the situation. Was they gotta kill Noma. Like, she cannot spend another second breathing. She gotta go. Noma gotta go, and we gotta figure it out. And I like that interaction with them in the crib around that dinner table again.
That
They
damn
they
table.
were around that damn Tejada dinner table, but this was probably the most unity we saw around that dinner table in a long time, Chrissy.
I love seeing it too. It's about time that the three of them were able to actually have a conversation. Like, we have watched them, like, literal scene after scene just fight at that table. That table hated to see a meal coming because nobody ever ate at it. Like, it was crazy to me, but it was good to see them be able to communicate, to understand what it was that Monet really wanted for her kids. At the end of the day, despite all of her flaws as a parent, she really wanted them to understand that family should always come first. And it's sad that it took her death for them to actually realize that, but it was good to let them get it all out. You know, Drew and Kane to finally hash it out, and for Kane to realize you played a part in your mother's death. Yes, you can sit here and you can blame everybody else, but you did choose to align yourself with someone that your mother told you was not trustworthy. And in the end, she did exactly what we all knew she was going to do. Like, she killed your mother. And now you have to deal with that pain. And it was really crazy to watch a character that we've seen be so hardcore and, like, show no real emotion other than anger, express himself in a way where he's crying over, her jewelry, and really thinking about what it was that his mom wanted for his life. And
Right.
it was just really good to see them come together as a family. I hate it had to be in this way, but it was what Monet wanted for them, and I'm glad that they finally realized that.
Yeah. And we had talked about it before last week, where they should have probably involved Kane in the
Absolutely.
decision.
Absolutely.
So when Kane was barking at Drew saying, like, how y'all keeping this away from me, I thought that was
Valid. Yeah.
super valid, right? And Drew at the same time saying, well, Cade, she wouldn't have went in there shooting if you wasn't in there tied up.
That
She went in there to save you, and she died saving you. Straight up.
that's
So if we shoulder some blame, you definitely shoulder that same amount of blame. You
Yeah.
shoulder that same amount of blame, and probably even more. And I think they came to a realization that everybody was to blame. At some point,
absolutely.
everybody was to blame, but they realized Monet wouldn't have want them to just sit around and sulk about it. Like, I remember even Diana was talking about, like, what would Ma say right now?
Yeah.
He's like, probably tell Drew to stop crying. Right?
Yep.
Like, I start laughing because it's true. Like, they already knew the same way that we can mimic Monet and know how she gonna get down. They knew it because that was their mother. So they knew that they had to get together and figure out what the hell it is they were gonna do about Noma. Right?
Mm.
So that was a cool scene where they were able to come together, figure it out, and say to themselves, you know what? Family first. We hurting right now, but we need to make Noma feel that same pain.
Which was a pain that any parent. Let me tell you something. I didn't know where they were going to go with that. I really thought in the end it was just about getting revenge on Noma for taking out their mother. But when you think about everything that Diana's gone through this season, losing her own child, it's hardened her heart. Like, you watched her throughout this entire episode battling with really essentially who she thought she was. And now losing her mother, I don't even know how Diana will be able to recover from two losses, despite the fact that she tried to kill her mother. Let's not forget that. And Kane
Yeah.
made sure to remind her of that too. Like, this is what y'all wanted. Ain't this what y'all? How do I know this wasn't y'all's plan from the beginning, was to get Ma killed? And that was a valid question, because it's like, yo, y'all did try to off her at the beginning of the season. So it's not a, it's not far-fetched to think that that's something y'all would have done. But to know that to get to Noma, you have to go after somebody that she loves. And we know, based on what we've seen from her all season, the only person that she truly cares about is Anya. Like, she's shown no emotion for anybody but Anya. Like, and you saw even more of that in this episode. You saw the motherly instinct come out in her and quickly get, like, she would go and be this nice mother, and then she would quickly remember, wait a minute, can't be that. And it was weird. So it was almost like watching Monet with an accent. It was mad weird. I was like, yo, you ain't no better of a parent. Like, you were no good either. The only difference was she really did try to shelter Anya from the life. She didn't want Anya to be in the drug game like Monet did with her kids, but they knew what they had to do. In order to get to Noma, you have to attack with what she loves the most. Go after that and then make decisions later. And that's what they did. It was a smart plan. Like, essentially the plan made sense, but the execution was the part that is like, what we gonna do? Like, what's the plan here? Like, when you get to the house and you see all these guns, what do? And you enlist your cousin, who really ain't about their life. He was like, listen, I ain't trying to catch no case.
Lil Durk said, I got my cameo. Y'all ain't killing me off. I need to get in on some of these other spinoffs or something like that. So we about to go back to the crib. Y'all got it from here, which I thought was so real and so hilarious at the same time. Cause I'm like, yo, fam, they kidnapped y'all too. And you walked in with them, shot up the safe house, kidnapped homegirl's daughter. And you said, you know what? I've hit my limit. I think we need to establish some boundaries. We eye for an eyed it right now. Y'all got homegirl, but we not trying to catch cases, and we ain't trying to catch bullets. We survived this one, and probably like y'all should try to live to fight another day. So we about to go back to wherever they from. We don't even know where they from, but we about to go back to where we came from, and we out of here. Y'all got it. And the Tejadas was like, yo,
respect.
We got to do it. Like, yo, we got to respect that the moves that you're making, because y'all helped. At least you helped, which makes me say, were they the cousins from Monet's side or from Lorenzo's side? I think these was Monet's.
I think this was Monet's side.
I think this was Monet's side. And Monet's side, they all taking up for themselves. So the minute they helped, they was like, yo, auntie gone, RIP to her. But we got to get out of here. We can't be catching any cases like that anymore. So we going to get out of here.
It was a smart thing. I was like, yeah, y'all might want to save yourselves, because this ain't going to end well. They saw the end and they knew it was going to end with death. Like, there's no other way out of this game. You just saw Monet die. It's like, and y'all are really sentencing me to another death sentence at this point. So I wasn't mad at them for going home. Take y'all asses home, because this isn't going to end well for y'all. Like, you can't all survive. You know what I mean? So it was funny to see them make that decision. But then it's also interesting in the fact that they were actually even able to get Anya. Like, you executed that with, like, what? There was like 4 of them, maybe 5. And they took out some shooters. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, y'all not bad. Like, it's a pretty good look. I wasn't mad at it. They were able to get Anya, which was the smartest move. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to get somebody like a Noma, hit her in the heart. And that was a smart move.
Exactly. Like, that was kind of ill. And I love the way that they were able to execute the plan, because they at that point, they were finally able to get up with Team Tariq, Braden, and Effie, right? And they were finally able to get up with them. They shared the condolences, and they were like, yo, we got to get Noma out of here. So how are we going to do it? And then they set that plan in action where Tariq acts like he's saving Anya. Yeah. And yo, this man, when Tariq gets into character, Tariq is probably one of the best characters on a show that tries to act and
Actors
acts as
acting.
something is not a character actor, right? Not actor character actor.
Yeah.
That in the character of Tariq, he's actually a pretty good fucking actor because he was
But
able to convince Anya that somehow he
Yeah.
found her, untied her, and got her out of there before Cade could shoot her up, and convinced her, one, yo, I work with your mom. I know what she does. I know what it is. I need to get you to her safely. Let me know where it is. And that's how they were able to get the drop on
Right.
Noma, right? On Noma, or so we thought.
Yeah.
And I loved that you spoke about Noma and Anya and that relationship that they had, where it got to the point where Noma finally could not hide her business anymore.
Yep.
She damn sure couldn't even hide the fact that, yeah, I did get your pops killed because he got too close. And you know what? At this point, you're what I got, and you gonna listen. Even if I gotta drag you out here kicking and screaming, we're going to Lagos. Oh well. Yes, I am everything you said I was. I was everything you thought I was, and probably some more. But I don't care. Now you know the truth. And now we're out of here. We're gonna get out of here. And that was enough to plant it in Anya that, yo, my mom ain't who I thought she was. Like, yeah, I love her, but this is even wilder. Like, you killed our dad over this. Yeah, okay, you had a hard upbringing, but damn, you don't think that's a bit OD? Like what you did to our parent? And then she has the conversation with Tariq, and they have that common conversation about parents that you find out were actually doing something shady. They weren't who they seemed, and they were actually doing something way more sinister. And the idea of, well, do you have to become them? Do you have to follow in their footsteps? Or could you choose to do something different? And Tariq was kind of like, yeah, I am what I am. Anya was on the side saying, I'm not going to fall into that. I don't care what you think. I ain't going to fall into that.
Which is crazy because, we sometimes watching this show, I forget Tariq killed his father. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I literally forget that this man shot and killed his own parent. And then they remind us by him having conversations like this, where he's talking to Anya about, you don't have to become, your parents, that you could be your own person. But it's like, Tariq, you literally are your father. You just may be an elevated version of what Ghost was, but you are you are your father. And Anya, as much as she tried to pull away from that, somehow still kept getting dragged into it episode after episode because of who her mother was and what she did, which is something that Tariq started to understand as this episode went on, is that there's no way you can have a family in this game. Doing what you do, it is impossible to keep the ones that you love safe. He has watched season after season people dying. Now you got Monet. Now you're looking at a situation where, you're losing people that are close to you. He lost his father, and you can't sustain, and he lost his child. Now that you think about it, you can't have a normal life with what he does. And I thought that the way that they taught him that lesson through this episode was really, really dope. Like, you're seeing this situation. He's able to get Anya to the safe house. And it was kind of crazy. He was like, I don't see anybody out here. And she was like, the moment I step out of this car, they will know I'm here. And the moment she stepped out, that gate opened up. And I had a feeling in that moment it wasn't going to end well for her, because as much as you try to pull away from that life, no matter what Anya would have done, because of who her mother was, there was literally nothing she was going to be able to do to separate herself from that. Because with Noma being who she was, anybody that would want to come after her, the smart thing for them to do would be to go after Anya. So now that you know that she has a daughter, that's the play. That's the move. And Diana, like I said, is broken. She is broken. She lost her baby. She's lost her mother. She's essentially lost everything that she loves and cares for. And she wants Noma to feel that pain. I didn't know she was going to shoot Anya, though. I was like, oh, shit. Not only didn't just shoot her once, she shot that gun like 6-7 times. That girl didn't stand a chance. And I thought that was great acting by Noma's character, because I felt that
Mm,
pain, that scream. That is that came from the gut. Like that is my everything that is now leaving me. And I knew there was nothing that they were going to be able to do to save Anya in that moment. She was a done deal. And Diana, now that she's just killing for fun, like there's nothing that we also can do to save her. Like she's a wrap as well.
right. Exactly, exactly. And I loved how she had that conversation with Tariq,
Mhm.
and she pretty much, Tariq is telling her, like, yo, you don't have to make the same decisions your mom made. You can live your own life. And Anya's telling him, I don't want to be my mother, but I don't want to be you either.
Yep.
And I loved how Kane blacked out, because for all the talk of following plans, this was the first time Diana pretty much went rogue.
Yep.
Actually, she kind of went rogue on the Kill Monet plan once Monet said some nice words to her, and she was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then she didn't know Tasha had that thing on her and was ready to get her out of there, right? So Diana goes rogue, shoots up Anya. And when they get back to the safe house, they're literally asking, yo, what the hell? They're having those conversations. Why did you not follow the plan? We had a clear shot of Noma. Diana says now she can feel what we feel.
Yeah.
Now she knows what it feels like to lose someone close to you that you love. I made her feel that pain. And this is the change that you slowly start to see in Diana from the moment she lost her baby. This is somebody who wanted out the game, but slowly but surely, Breaking Bad, she's starting to see the world in more shades of gray than the black and white that people outside of her saw it. Someone who wanted to escape the game, where eventually, towards the end, we see maybe she wants to rebuild the Tejada legacy. And we don't know, right? But having them come back to the safe house and having that conversation where they didn't accomplish what they wanted to. They didn't accomplish what they wanted to. Noma's still alive, but they killed Anya. Even to where Tariq was like, yo, when was this part of the plan?
When did y'all plan this?
Right. Well, I thought Anya was good. She was an innocent, but
No.
it wasn't, because like some of y'all who watch House of the Dragon, a son for a son.
Yep.
A son for a son, right? Like they're gonna pay back the grievance in equal or greater amounts.
Every time.
There's going to be an equivalency exchange, and they're going to make sure they get their pound of flesh. So seeing that while still having to deal with the looming threat of Carter, and we have Carter locked up. Carter's doing his best to try to turn people against each other. He's talking shit. He's defiant because he knows he has the video of Tariq and Braden killing Zion. So he knows. Even if there was no way he could get that video out to everyone, they know that it's in his possession.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew, hey, if you kill him, not only will all of NYPD be looking for you, but I will have that video released, so they'll be looking for you twice. You will never be able to know peace. So I loved how Tariq was devising the plan to get that info from Carter. And then eventually they figured out, well, not only do we have to cover our ass, if there isn't a way to delete this video, we need to get something equal on Carter so that we control him.
Shout out to Davis for that. Like telling him, like, if you know what I mean? Like if he's got something on you, you got to find something of equal or greater value on him. So, let me just say, Carter is an asshole. Okay, the way he be talking, what you gonna do now, Tariq? I would have knocked his ass out. And shout out to Tariq for every time he knocked him, because I was tired of him talking. He was slick tongue. He always had something to say. But I will also say Effie is a brilliant mind that didn't get used enough. Knowing that she was able to go to the house, get into his computer and see the files that he's been accessing, knowing that he kept going back to the Kamal Tate file, and then seeing, like, finding out it was the Russians. And she was like, that's impossible. I was there when that happened, and they were on the run. They weren't looking for no dumbass cop. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't worried about that. So them being able to decipher that and knowing that they didn't have evidence to point to him doing it, but they had just enough where they could make him believe that they did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's just enough reasonable doubt that it looks bad that you keep accessing this file, that your gun is, your bullets are the ones that were found in Kamal Tate, and you've been trying to switch those bad boys out. Like Carter, for as smart as he was, he started to get really sloppy in the end because he was making decisions off the cuff. Like killing Kamal Tate was never a part of his plan, but Tate finding out what he did when he saw Nico take that money really threw him off course. And we said it when it happened. We were like, yo, like he's becoming everything that he claims that he didn't want, that he was fighting against. You killed an innocent person. And I was gung-ho, get justice for Kamal Tate. Because that man didn't deserve to die. Like, he was literally an innocent person out of anyone on this show. He did no evil, like did not deserve to die whatsoever. Right. And I was really glad that they were able to get justice for him in this episode. I would have liked to have seen Rashad Tate pop up, a little bit. Maybe that would have been my one gripe with this episode, is that we didn't get to see Rashad Tate get the justice for his brother. But knowing that Kamal Tate's death is what buried Carter made me really happy. I was blown away.
Yeah, I heard that criticism, and I kind of agree. I think they could have probably shared an extra few minutes. Yep. I do think if we saw the ceremony, Monet's homegoing ceremony, I think a couple of seconds on that would have been cool. I think showing Rashad Tate, even just finding out that it was Carter that killed Kamal, and maybe you see him starting to make calls to make sure that he gets his family revenge on Carter. Because like they said, I know there's some people who are mad that he didn't get killed, but jail is way worse. For
I'm
a dirty
glad that
cop.
they said that. I'm glad that they had him say that. Drew said that like him going to jail is the worst thing that could possibly happen to him, because he did so many people wrong. He will not, the way he was saying Tariq wouldn't have peace, he ain't never gonna have no peace sitting in a jail cell, because he's always gonna think somebody is coming after him, and they probably will. He won't survive long.
No, all his ops are in, all the people that he had under his thumb, all the people he was trying to control, they all in that same jail. And he gonna roll up in there, and it's gonna be like your favorite Daredevil comic book when he gets discovered and has to go into jail and be in the same jail with all the supervillains that he put in there. So just know Carter is going through hell. And I love the way that they set him up, and they had Kane and the Tejadas working together one more time to get rid of their enemies there for good, right? Like Drew had to go into the office one more time after they cut the deal. Because, like I said, Tariq was talking cash shit to Carter. He was the one that was taunting him after Effie and Braden went in the crib. And that was hilarious, where they found all his dead wife's stuff. And Braden's like, yo, you think he wears this dress on the weekends? Like, this is super freaky. And Effie and them figure out, okay, we can't delete it from here. It's in the office. So y'all got to go into the office somehow and erase his computer. And Drew is able to do that. Yeah. And I love how they show the tension. And they continue to show, to your point, Chrissy, how Carter's been messing up this entire time, how sloppy he's become, where he's trying to switch the ballistics, the literal ballistics, the bullets, so that it could be pinned more on the Russians. Because, he was the one that handled the report. So clearly nobody's going to go back unless there's an investigation to check and see if the bullets match up. And Nico, who's consistently walking in on him and seeing him do shady stuff, but he's thinking of him as the better person. He's giving him a certain amount of grace because, Carter wouldn't do that. There's no way he would do that when he's been on this crusade for years about keeping the city safe, protecting cops while we make our bread. I don't think he would do that. But you could see that Nico did have his suspicions. So once Tariq was talking that shit to him and saying like, yo, what would Denise think of you right now? That you a cop, a dirty cop, killing other cops.
He
We
said, "What did
know
you
what you
say?"
try to do with Kamal Tate. We know he was on his task force. We know you handled his ballistic evidence. They got enough to say, hey, we let you go. We own you now. So it was a flip on the speech that Carter gave Tariq after they were in Felicia's apartment. It's like, yo,
Oh
we
yeah,
own you now. And this all goes away. You don't snitch on us. We don't snitch on you. And we are able to operate as we want to. And you knew Carter wasn't going to stand for that. He was going to try to do it. So he tries to go through Drew Chrissy in order to set up Tariq. Drew lets Tariq know. And that's when they were able to set that trap.
it was brilliant. Listen, this is when Tariq's mind really shows how brilliant he is, because he was able to really sit there and deduce, like, yo, we can use this to our advantage. Like, there's a way we can make this work for all of us where we all win in the end. And it really was a smart plan, because Nico already was seeing like little bits of doubt, with Carter. Carter was really getting messy. It just wasn't looking good. Like, I didn't know they were going to go doing it like that, though. I thought he was just going to hear him maybe talking shit about him or something like that. But to know that Nico was the one that gave them the bullet to sit there and accuse him. And then he was like, Nico, Nico, Nico. Like, he was literally going to sell Nico down the river to save his own ass. And I know that had to be a hard decision for Nico to make, because he had already been almost bribed once before. We watched it where he took that money earlier this season, but they couldn't get him to, really flip on Carter. But
Right.
that, I think, knowing that he killed a cop was the straw for Nico. And I said it when he did it. I was like, something about Nico that's not sitting right with him. He didn't like Kamal Tate, but he respected the fact that he was a brother in blue. Enough to know that you don't do that. You don't kill somebody.
Said he's a good cop.
Innocent. He was a
Straight
good
up.
man, a good cop.
Good
And
cop, good man.
I loved it. I loved the fact that Nico stood for something in that moment. He ain't shit either. Let's be clear. But Carter was the bigger fish. Like, we needed to take him down, because what he was doing was unacceptable. Like, there was no way you could get away with killing a cop in that way. And I'm glad that Nico at least had that boundary. Like, he don't have many, but he had that one. So I was glad to see that.
Yeah, and they were able to. He was able to hear what Carter was willing to do, and that was like the last straw. Because if he would have been like, "Nah, I ain't selling out my brother," blah 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 blah, maybe Nico hesitates.
Yeah,
But it was clear that they told Nico, "Look, this dude will sell you out. I'm telling you, this dude will sell you out. So unless you're going to just stay under his thumb and get caught up, you need to hear it from his own mouth, and we'll make sure of it." So I know he probably had a lot of suspicions where he was thinking to himself, yo, maybe he is shady. Let's see what he does under duress, because what he does under duress is a reflection of who he really is. So let's see what's up. And he was able to see what's up. And they were able to arrest. And then you see later on at the end, that interaction and that mutual trust that Tariq showed Nico and giving him that information was able to pay off in the end.
Yeah. And shout
because
out
if the guys who are supposed to be the bad guys are the ones that are only ones telling you the truth, what are you gonna believe? You know what I'm saying?
Facts. And I really love the way Drew came through in this episode. Like, when push came to shove, Drew,
you're here. I'm here. You're on ISO.
So I really loved watching Drew, the way he was able to handle it, because we've been making fun of Drew all season, okay? Actually, since the beginning of this show, we've been talking shit about Drew. But watching him in this episode, avenging his mother's death, was dope. Like, coming up with the plan, being able to execute, getting into Carter's office, putting that jump drive in, deleting it so that there's nothing that ties Tariq or Brayden to the murder of Zion. And then, coming in, helping Tariq execute that final phase of the plan in taking down Carter. Because at the end of the day, if you leave Carter out there alive still, he's never going to let them live a normal life. He will always have something over them. And Tariq's end game was to be an apex predator, aka nobody above him. And in order to do that, you got to take Carter down. So shout out to Drew for really coming through in the clutch. Like, I feel like his character really got the turnout that nobody thought he was going to get. If there was one character that I will say lived to see another day that nobody thought, it was definitely Drew. Y'all wanted Drew's head last week. Y'all thought his ass was dead. And look at Drew. Drew done made it. He done made it. I'm so proud of him.
Can you blame people though?
I
Can you
mean,
blame
yeah,
people? Drew was on that watch. He was on that watch.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all remember, we thought that, of course, if one had to go, it was going to be Drew.
Yeah.
And if one had to stay from the Tariq's side, it was going to be, of course, Tariq. Yeah. Right? So that's what we thought. And the actuality was something even I didn't think, because a lot more people survived during this than I thought. I for sure thought Carter was a goner, but putting him in jail as opposed to killing him off, I thought made a lot more sense, because, of course, if you want to continue his storyline in any way, he's not officially off the board. He's just in jail. And I saw they was talking in the chat saying that Lorenz probably had some scheduling conflicts, where he couldn't be on the show. But still, I don't know, man. Maybe you green screen it up. Maybe you do something. It did feel like a miss.
When he showed up for the scene with Kamal Tate in the thing, they could have filmed it then. Like,
yeah,
he had a scene in this season. Like, all we were asking for was for him to. It didn't even have to be anybody else from the show. It could have been him getting the call that it was Carter who was the one that killed his brother, and you seeing that anger in him to continue his like war to wherever he may pop up in the future. But us not having that tie, I will say, was the one piece that I was missing in this finale. I really wanted to see Rashad Tate get that moment, because Carter was the last one that spoke with him and gave him that reassurance that it was the Russians that killed his brother. And now knowing that that was a lie, I just wanted to see that tied up a little bit better.
For sure. All right, speaking of people who did not survive, this is Power After Hours, your favorite Power podcast. Ghost in the Machine, Power Book 2. Ghost, Season 4, Episode 10, a.k.a. the series finale and the closing of Book 2. Book 2, grand opening, grand closing. Speaking of people who didn't survive, Noma's out of there. And, of course, the way they set her up, they booked a flight on her private jet, knowing that if they booked it, she would show up. And of course, her brother, Chinedu, that man wanted nothing to do with nothing, basically undermined her, took her army away from her, was telling her, if you stay, y'all not going to survive. If you keep following her, you're not going to survive. And let her know, like, yo, you have tanked the family business. You are going to continue to gallivant around. You lost your daughter. You lost your husband. You need to fight another day. Like, you need to get out of here. You need to salvage something. And then you're going to run headfirst into a trap?
Like, he told her it's a trap.
Yeah. It's a trap. And she's like, I don't care. I'm going to get my revenge. And he was like, nah, we out of here. So she comes up with what would be her last smart play, knowing that they're waiting for her in that hangar. You call the cops and you roll out there with them to confront them and get them arrested to get the Tejadas off the board. And this is where we see one of the last acts of this Tejada family going on, where Kane says, yo, I love y'all. Remember family first. And then goes out, sneaks out, confronts Noma, and has that talk before he's the one who put the bullet in her head. And, well, so Chrissy, I'll ask you first off, how satisfying was that moment, and what did you think about that whole situation?
I was proud of Kane. And I know that Monet would have been proud of him too. Like, I know that's weird to say because he killed somebody, but everything that he went through with Monet, that had to be his finish. He had to avenge that death. It couldn't be anybody else. It needed to be him, because he was the one that sat there and watched, he watched Noma take that shot on his mother. Those shots. He watched it and couldn't do shit about it. Was very helpless. And for him to have that moment, just the three of them in that hangar, saying, what do y'all think Monet would say right now, and them talking about, the first thing that they remember Monet saying to them as kids, and having those moments I thought was really beautiful to remind us that Monet wasn't always this tragic character. She did have moments of where she could be a mother, where she could, that where what they felt was affection. It's not normal, but they received it as such. So it was good to see that, but I needed Kane to have that moment. And I also know that Kane was in that hangar a lot when he was dealing with Mecca. And so I had a feeling that there was something that Kane knew that we didn't, because Mecca was a master of, maneuvers. Like, he was able to go get in somewhere, get out without anybody seeing. Like, I had a feeling that Kane knew something. So knowing that he made that final move and took that headshot on her, with her saying, you could have had everything. And he said, yeah, I had everything. And you took that from me. You took my mom. Like, that was very, it was just good. Kane, let me tell you something. Kane was acting. These past 2 episodes, he was acting. And I literally almost cried. Y'all know I can't wait to shed a tear. I didn't, but I almost did, because he's really had some scenes these last 2 episodes that make you understand his character as a whole. Like, what it was that Monet instilled in him that made him into the man that he is, as flawed as he is, but there was nobody else that was going to take that moment. And he delivered and was able to escape, which is crazy, because I know he took at least 2 shots. But again, he was in that hangar a lot with Mecca, and it wouldn't have surprised me if Mecca had a secret escape in there somewhere to get out, and Kane was able to do such. And I'm just glad that it was him that took that shot. It needed to be him.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the conversation where she was like, you could have had everything with me.
Jesus Christ.
And he said, I had everything, Monet, and you're nothing, and shot her. Yeah, it was a little nuts that he pulled the Batman move, and and you look behind the car, and all you see is drops of blood, and he's out of there. I thought that was like a hilarious scene, because that was something that I knew people were gonna harp on and talk about and joke. And even the Power account on Instagram posted one of the memes where somebody said that he did the Kobe Bryant move when he was getting followed one time, and they go in front of a pillar, and they think he's gonna walk out, and he's like gone, because he stopped at the pillar, and it looked like he disappeared out of thin air. So I thought that was like hilarious. But yeah, if you do think back, so here's the thing that I'll say, and I'll spend a couple of seconds, and y'all chat, y'all definitely chime in on this too. If you're in the comments, chime in on this too. Audio gang, get on the YouTube and continue the conversation, because that's where we're doing it. If you feel strongly, definitely get into the comments. I wonder at times how people consume this show.
Yeah.
Are you watching and paying attention? Do you remember the stuff that happens in previous seasons? Are you scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever while you're watching? Because a lot of the nitpicks that I hear, it just sounds like you want to complain. And that's something where I think with Power, it sits in this unique space where, yes, there are times where there is stuff to complain about. Like when people start talking about Force, we keep it 100 here, right? People start talking about Force, I Drewski hands it, because I know that is like a Tommy open world game where you just get to be Tommy and do Tommy stuff, right? That's what it is. The stories, some of the characters aren't as compelling. Some of the ones that are don't get as much screen time. I get it, right? But I'll see complaints about Power, and I'm just like, you don't watch the show.
Right.
You don't watch the show. If a writer or creative decides on a different course of action, different than what you would have picked, it doesn't mean that it was a bad decision. It could still be a bad decision, but it doesn't mean inherently that it's a bad decision. They just did it a different way than you. And it's like, I hear a lot of the nitpicking, and some of the criticism is valid. Like, for example, the whole Rashad Tate thing and why he wasn't there. I think that's a glaring omission, especially when you set him up that he wanted to hear from Carter whatever happened to his brother, and now we don't get a close to that chapter, which might have had also coincided with this whole season 4 is now the last season and they had to rush to get everything out, right? Get that. But certain commentaries on the characters itself, I'm like, yo, how'd you watch the show? Like, we'll talk about it when we get to it, but how Tariq ended up where he did. I saw a tweet that said, how did he get here all of a sudden?
All of a
and
sudden?
I said, all of a sudden, was this the first episode that you watched?
He's been through things.
He's literally been trying to do this since book 1.
Jesus.
Low key. Like,
Crazy.
how is it all of a sudden? And I know there's a lot of people who had classic TV sitcoms and classic TV shows who are happy that they weren't around during the social media era, because they would have ended up on some type of aggregate account that points out all of the continuity errors and the wardrobe misses and stuff. Like the people who pointed out that there was like a Starbucks cup or something on the set of Game of Thrones, like somebody left it and never edited it out. Right? Like stuff like that. And I just think it's fascinating because it feels like Power in general as a show has sat in this unique place where it is like our show, and we can clown stuff that happens. We could do whatever. But I wonder sometimes, do people actually enjoy the show, or do they enjoy complaining about the show? Because I don't know about you, Chrissy. If I'm watching something I don't like, I don't keep watching it.
I don't keep
watching. I will bail on a show. I'll bail on a show. Unless, I keep it real. For those of y'all who have watched Supernatural,
oh my God.
I was there since day 1. I missed the last season and a half because just lifed, and I had it on the DVR. Then we switched providers, so that went gone. But now it's back on Netflix, so I have to finish my story literally and watch the end of Supernatural, right? But bro, I was in too deep. I was in like 9-10 seasons. When they decide to stop is when I was going to decide to stop. Yeah. But I would never convince somebody, yo, you got to go back and watch all 15 seasons of Supernatural. It's like a comfort show. It's for those who like it and the fans, they'll definitely enjoy it. And for those who don't, or might be like, oh, this is some hokey stuff. This is like weird. Riverdale is like another one of those shows that there are people that hardcore fan kids that get the show and love it. And other people will be like, yo, this is nonsense, right? I can understand in those situations where you're like, yo, you could admit what you're watching might not be the most spectacular, but you keep watching. But the way I hear sometimes people talk about the show, I'm like, yo, fam, pull the plug. Pull the plug and get out. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, why are y'all still here? Like, if I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna waste my time, y'all, I feel like some of y'all spend more time tweeting about how much you hate it than you actually do watching the episodes. Because I literally watch these episodes and I can tell you there has been very few moments in this series, book 2, where I have not been invested. They have done such a great job with these characters and telling these stories. Effie's storyline from start to finish, Kane's storyline from start to finish. Like, you can't tell me that character growth doesn't exist. Like, some of y'all didn't watch season 1 through 3 and it shows. Like, y'all just be joining stuff to join and to complain. I know people that literally live to do nothing but complain. They are negative Nancy's that have nothing better to do with their time. And I feel like the people that do that, like, y'all aren't real fans of the show. You're not fans of these characters. Like, to me, watching this show is like I've invested time in the Power universe as a whole. Like, that's the only reason I stick around with Force. That and the fact that I had to do this podcast, because I'm not going to hold y'all. Last season, Jeff had to force me to watch it because I was like,
Of what? Of Ghost?
No, of Force.
Oh, Force. I
was like, I'm not in it. Like, I get it when we were upset about Ghost having, these dreams of Angie after she died. Now, then was a valid problem. But this show has been so good. Book 2 and the way that they developed these characters and these storylines, like even the fact that they brought 2-Bit back. for Tariq to get his car back. Like little moments like that. Like you can't tell me that this show was not worth watching. Like every moment I can't even tweet if I wanted to while watching it because I'm so invested in not wanting to miss a moment because like you'll miss a Kane joke if you don't pay attention. The way he be talking to Braden. You know what I mean? Like little things like that. Like I actually enjoy those little moments on this show. I just feel like people like to complain and it's annoying. Like some of y'all just don't need to watch. Find something else. Go watch BMI or whatever the other show is. Just find something else.
Body mass index?
Yeah, whatever it is. What is it? What is the name like
It's BMF actually, fam.
BMF.
Black Mafia Family.
Listen,
they are not checking their fat percentage. They not on they fitness kick. You know what I mean? We're not checking BPMs. We're not checking rested heart rates or
like
stars.
Y'all don't deserve to be fans. Like some of y'all don't deserve to
blowing money indefinitely.
Yes, thank you, y'all. Listen, y'all, I'm tired. I'm stressed. Power doesn't deserve this amount of like turmoil. Like this is actually a good fucking show, and I refuse to sit here and listen to people that hate on it because some of y'all just don't really like TV for real. Y'all just like to have Twitter moments, and it shows.
BMI is still crazy. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm sorry.
Power After Hours, man. Power After Hours, where we watch our favorite shows and also check in on our health journeys too. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get right for the summer. Watch BMI only on Stars. You know what I'm saying? Get your crutches in. Start doing your cardio, some high intensity interval training. You know what I mean? A little bit of weight training. Oh, double entendre. Ha 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 ha.
Listen, that would be like me watching BMF and like talking shit about it the whole time. Like it's not my show. Like I don't waste time watching things that I don't genuinely like.
I know it's 100%. Like, you know, shout out to my guy Lamar K. Cheston, who acted on a season of BMF. You know, I thought the show was all right, but if he wasn't on it, I wouldn't be watching watch for his character. Like I support my people. He's a fantastic actor, and he's next up. I'm letting y'all know that right now, so that years from now, you be like, yo, I heard of that guy before. You hearing about him here first. Like, and this is not bias. This is real rap. He's like theater. He's capital A actor. Like I'm leaving here with something type actor, like theater, all of that. So shout out to him. And shout out also to my guy, Sean Hardy. My guy, Sean, he mentioned once, because we were in a group chat talking about Power, and every week I used to go back and forth with people in the group chat because I used to be like, yo, do y'all want to just get up and talk about something else? Because it felt like it was cathartic for them to get off their Power jokes in the chat, which, you know, some of the stuff, like I said, there's justified stuff and there's other stuff where I'm like, it's ridiculous. And my guy Sean would always say, y'all enjoyed a show where a school teacher became the biggest meth dealing kingpin in New Mexico or Arizona or wherever it was, right? I'm talking about Breaking Bad for those of you who don't know. But you can't believe this happens in Power or that happens in Power, right? Like when you put it in perspective, that's when it gets really hilarious. But I just a microcosm of the whole series. And I think that also shows Power's impact, because if people were indifferent, you wouldn't hear this chatter. People actually do care, or hate. Right? The opposite of hate, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. So if they are talking about it, there is some level of interest and passion directed at it, whether it's positive or negative. It's enough for you to say something instead of just ignoring it. So, you know, that is what it is. One thing we couldn't ignore was Noma getting out of here, Kane taking her out, and them closing that chapter of Noma. Chrissy, what did you think of Noma as a villain?
I thought she was good. I thought she instilled fear in everyone from the moment she stepped on the scene. I feel like she was, you know, Mecca had a little bit of fear in him too, the way he would just slice somebody's neck while they were cooking. You know what I mean? Like he was nuts. But, you know, she had to be a female, a Black female, and to have this power, and everyone, you know, she's got guards that watch her. You know, she had Obi who had her back and was really like, you know, her little lapdog, did whatever she told him to do. she really was a character of power. But we learned in this season, you know, why she was that character, with her brother showing up and, you know, her saying things like, you know, that's why father put me in charge, because you don't have the heart or the balls to
Mm.
do what we needed to do to run this business. I feel like she had a way about her where it drove people crazy, like Monet. Monet did not want to answer to another female. She wasn't about that life. She always felt like Noma was shady, was doing, you know, dirty business. Like she literally was only in it for what she could gain. But I did like Noma as a villain. I felt like everybody in at some point feared her to a point. You know what I mean? Like everybody wanted to find a way to take her off the map, but could not figure it out. You know, it really was Effie dropping the bomb that she had a daughter that really opened her up to be accessible and to find a way to get at her. So yeah, I thought she was a great villain. She did what she needed to do, you know, to have all of these kids under you and following you, and you're controlling every move on the board. I feel like she just got too cocky. She got too comfortable. And, you know, it even to the point where her brother told her, like, I'm not sending our men out to die. You have been doing nothing but death and destruction from the moment you stepped into this country. And he wasn't lying. You know what I mean? Like, he was telling the truth. But I do feel like she was a good villain for the moment. It's what this show needed. I feel like it was that good transition from Mecca to her. I thought it was worthwhile. I felt like we were scared of her. Like she scared the shit out of me. Like even when she killed Obi, I was shook. You know what I mean? So she was definitely a character that I felt like evolved, but just got too big for her britches in a sense. Like, unfortunately, that's what ended up taking her out. She thought that she had this quote unquote power, and literally the people who you thought were your minions were the ones that ended up taking out the plan to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was solid for what the series was trying to do. I think I liked some other power villains better. I liked the flip of her being like a black British villain. Like
Yeah.
it almost gives that Bond feel to it. So I thought it was cool. She had the one-liners. She instilled fear here and there. I think about like Lobos and Milan and
Oh,
all
that's
these
a
guys.
different
Like
movie.
those are like the A tier, S
Yeah.
tier power villains. I think that she'll be remembered more so for how everybody came together to take her down, right?
Yeah.
And some of her one-liners and how she was like cutthroat and how it was like sleeping with her was part of your business, was part of your job interview and whatnot. That was like part of your duties. And to your point, she was a woman in position of power where folks couldn't really exert their will, not even Carter. Like she's talking to him like he worked for her too.
Yeah.
So you could see that with her, right? So I otherwise I thought she was cool. I thought she was cool. She probably needed another season to get fleshed out a little bit more before she really established herself. But
I can see.
otherwise, I thought she was cool. So let's get to a few things where we talk about how this all wrapped up. What did you think about Effie giving Kane that money to get out of Dodge?
Oh my God.
Let's have
You
the
know,
discussion.
for as much as I love Effie's character, I didn't like the way she went out. You know, I wanted Effie to take that money and invest in herself. She seems like the character that she spent all this time saving this money to get out. And, you know, because she has that soft feel for Kane, what really pissed me off was the fact that he gave her a kiss on her forehead like she was some child, and he whisked off into the night with her money.
He
Like,
did say he'd pay her back. I mean,
he ain't
to be
paying
fair,
that shit back. He's
to
on the
be fair.
run. He's on the run.
So what, he
Like,
can't accumulate money to pay her back because he's on the run?
no, he cannot. Okay. She's screwed, and she'll be lucky if she's able to ever make it to that fellowship that she was supposed to be going to. Like, I really wanted for her character, in the way that they sent Drew off to finally go, you know, to Paris and do an art fellowship. I wanted Effie to continue her career doing what she's actually good at. We have watched her season after season do some amazing things in tech, do some amazing things on those computers and hacking into systems. And I wanted that for her, especially after the scene with her mother, but I think that might actually be what made her do it, with her mother telling you, no one's ever going to love you. How could anyone love you? And I feel like she so desperately wanted Kane to give her the love that she kind of was showing him, that she was willing to sacrifice everything that she had built for herself and give it away to him. I hated that for her character. I wanted her to be stronger. I wanted her to stand on her own too for once and finally choose herself. And yet again, she put Kane ahead of herself and is now stuck still working with Tariq. And I just didn't want that for her character. I was low-key really bothered by that. I really was.
Yeah, and I shout out to the chat. I saw a comment that said that she went from selfish to selfless, and you saw it with her mother, and you saw the mentality that she had, where she had to look out for herself. Yeah. And I think she really did believe in Kane. She did believe that Kane loved her and was one of those people who actually cared about her. But that does leave the door open for manipulation too, because if you leave yourself vulnerable, there is a chance that somebody could get one over on you. And I don't think Kane would have needed all of the bread. Like if she gave him some of it,
right? Why all of it?
I could see that. Like, yo, here's a little something. Use that to get set up and whatnot, and you good. But all of it, the entire bag of bread, like, nah. You get a slice. You get a slice. You might get a little loaf. But you ain't getting the whole bag of bread, bro. Like, nah. I was just like, damn. The minute he said thank you and kissed her on the forehead and said, I'm going to pay you back, I could hear the tweets blowing up. I could hear social media going nuts and calling her a bird and calling her all types of like stupid and naive and whatnot. But it's almost as if she's making one more investment, and I don't know if I would have did that. In fact, I can ask myself, Jeff, would you have done that? Nah.
No.
All right, so no, I wouldn't have done that, right? So yeah, it was pretty crazy seeing how she finally had her way out because Noma was gone.
Yeah, so she was free.
Finally had her way out. She was free, and she willingly decided to stay in the same position by helping Kane out. And we don't even know how he got out, but of course he called his family to tell him that he got out of town, right?
Wherever the hell he went.
Yeah, but I could. That was one where I'm like, yeah, can't save Effie's character. Effie's character made an all-time blunder, and I think it was in line with the character because you could see the hurt that she went through with her family and with everybody else. You could also see that she really loved Kane. Like they might have been the real couple in all this that found each other and really accepted each other for who they were. Yeah. Like her and Tariq was never going to trust her again.
No.
After the thing happened with the double cross happened with Monet, excuse me. He was never gonna trust her again, right?
Yeah, the whole thing that she did with Lauren, trying to kill Lauren behind his back. You know what I mean?
That too. Like there was no way that he was gonna trust her again. So I think they were two people that had the realest relationship, right? I'd even put Diana and Tariq up there because I could see in a future in a different world where they would have worked out, but this just wasn't what it was gonna be. And yeah, now we could talk about it. We could talk about it like how we got to the end, right? We saw what happened with Effie and Kane. Drew and Diana have this conversation where Drew is like, I'm done. I'm out. Drew saw the writing on the wall and said, I am finally free. I gave my all to this family to work in a business I didn't even want to be a part of. Now mom is dead. So I am going to follow my passions, go to this art institute in Paris and see if I can make something of myself. Yep. And Diana's the one who's starting to react like Monet. Yeah, like, what do you mean you're going to go do art? We can build back the family business. Like, what are you talking about? She almost reacts the way Monet would have acted if Drew told Monet he was going to go to a art fellowship in Paris. And you can see that shot with Diana at the famous Tejadas table, remembering all their time. Remembering the good times that they had, the one good time where they had one good meal, right? And you could see now she wants something to fill the emptiness in herself from losing that baby, losing her mother, and seemingly losing her innocence that she had when she was trying to get out of the game and just trying to be a regular girl. And now she's like, yo, all of these things have happened to me. I'm suffering. Something needs to alleviate this suffering. And maybe it is buying into this family thing and finally building the business back.
I hate it for her. You know, I saw the writing on the wall when she lost that baby. I feel like the baby was the escape that was her exit plan, right? Like she genuinely wanted to have this baby and be able to live in this fantasy world where you really thought this baby was going to be safe, knowing that the daddy is a drug dealer too. So losing that baby truly, like I said, hardened her heart. There, you know, we watched her like slowly, like she wasn't showing up in class anymore. She walked out on that final exam, like little things like that. And now she's lost her mother. You know, like they were finally starting to get along again. You know, Diana and Monet were actually, you know, able to kind of be okay in a sense. You know, when she was pregnant, you know, Monet really was trying to invest in this baby. So, you know, now that she's lost those two things, I don't know that Diana has it in her to go back to school and pretend like everything is normal. She killed somebody, you know, like she killed two people, but she killed a cop in the most gruesome of ways with the cast iron skillet. And then you killed Anya, who essentially wasn't innocent. There was no need to really kill her, but you wanted that vengeance. You wanted somebody to feel pain like you do. But the problem with Diana is she doesn't realize doing those things doesn't heal you. You know what I mean? Like when she killed the cop, it didn't bring you any peace. In fact, it sent you further away from the person that you really wanted to be. So I'm glad that we got to see Drew realize that Monet's death, that's an eye opener for me. And I need to go live my life because I'm never going to get this second chance again. And Diana, she doesn't see it that way. In her eyes, she wants to rebuild the business. She's at the chair where Monet used to sit, and you could see it in her eyes. She's not going back to school, man. She's done with being normal Diana. She is so broken that she's going to do anything in her power to try to heal that pain. And it's not going to be in the smart way, like going to therapy. She's going to keep doing things that are just going to bring her deeper and deeper into the world that she tried so hard to escape over the seasons.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then we get one of the most satisfying scenes for me in the whole Power. We get Blanca back. And we get Jenny Sullivan back. And we have Davis and his assistant in the room.
Yeah.
And he's straight telling her. Because we figure out, like, I was thinking, like, did Noma snitch? Like, how did she get the cops to pull up like that?
She did.
Noma became an informant
to
try to flip the Tejadas, to try to go out against the Tejadas and get them to pin everything on them, probably including Monet's murder, low-key.
Yeah.
And he tells her, like, yo, the Tejadas, Diana and Drew Tejada, they're innocent. It's been Noma all along.
Yep.
Right. And they're telling her, like, yo, this is the queen pen. This is the person that you want. This is who you want. This is the big fish that y'all have been chasing really for 10 years.
10 years.
If we think about it, that office, the Southern District of New York, has been getting their ass kicked in this series for a decade. And this was the biggest fish that they could catch. And even Davis says it, in the end, it'll vindicate all your past work and put you back in the game. And the Tejadas will testify to it if you let them walk, right? And he's convincing them.
Just Drew and Diana. Drew.
Right. It's like, yo, you cut a deal with them. You let them walk. They'll tell you everything you need to know about Noma. Noma's already dead. So if you pin it on Noma, you're good. And now that story is taken care of, and you look like heroes for taking down a major drug empire that was going on in the city. And then, of course, you know, Blanca, she can't help herself. What about Tariq St. Patrick? David's like, what about nigga? Like we don't got nothing on him. We have nothing for you. So what about Agent Young's murder? He's like, that was one of Noma's hitters.
And it was.
Tariq is innocent. Y'all are going to let Tariq have to walk. There's a paper trail, and they lead it back to Obi.
Which is amazing.
That's why Obi fled the country.
Yeah,
so
amazing.
And remember, Davis was handling all that paperwork.
He was.
So he can connect all the dots for them to say it was Noma and Obi. They killed Agent Young. They were the ones that were involved with this whole deal. She's your queenpin.
Yeah.
There's nobody else involved as much as y'all would want it, right? And I want y'all to take that case, the complaints off against me, so I could get my license back.
Brilliant.
So that way, Davis was able to take care of himself and Tariq St. Patrick. And you knew, Blanca knows. Yeah. Tariq got something to do with this. I don't know what. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But I know this fucking St. Patrick kid has something to do with everything that's going on. Well, every single thing that's going on. But I've personally watched some of my colleagues get fired, some of my colleagues get murdered, and us continually getting our ass kicked by the St. Patricks and everybody involved in this ring. You know what? Then they're looking at each other thinking about it. Jenny got kicked off the cases. Blanca is still fiddling around, right? You know what? What are we going to do? We got this. It's wrapped, signed, sealed, delivered. Let's take it. And they take it, and you see Davis gets his license back, and now everything is pinned on Noma. Everything is pinned on Obi, and Tariq finally, possibly Kane as well, depending because he fled.
Yeah, that was the last thing she asked. She was like, "What about Kane Tejada?" And
he said, "We don't represent him."
Yeah, which is true.
We don't know, right? And he set it up that way so that he could take, because technically, Noma died, but Kane killed her. Yep. So they would want him for that murder because they know he did it.
Yeah, they know he did it.
But he's like, yo, that's not my business. So that was Davis's other way of saying, yo, we're giving you that too.
Brilliant.
Like, if you want to go after him, as of now, we're not representing him. We don't even want him in the deal, because they probably thought about it and said, all right, if we also want you to get Kane off when he killed y'all caught him killing her in 4K. Yeah. You're probably going to balk. So let's just give them this and see what happens. And ultimately, they decided to take it.
Listen, Davis is a smart man. You know what I mean? Like, I was really glad to see that his character made it out alive, because things were getting a little dicey for my boy. But I was glad to see that not only did he make it out alive, like, he got his license back. He's back operating as an attorney, and now running the biggest drug organization in all of New York. So I love that they gave his character that out, that he was able to, you know, because we've seen him still be doing law. It just wasn't legally, you know, like, Davis is a brilliant attorney. Like, he really is good at what he does. So I'm glad that he was able to use this to his advantage. All the things that he was doing for Noma behind the scenes while his license was suspended, was able to be used in the end. Like, they were able to make this make sense, wrap it up, and let it be done. Like, Tariq had no part in it. You know what I mean? Like, Tariq, they didn't see him there. You can't put him there. Tariq has no parts in this part that you trying to put him in. Like, he didn't do nothing. And Tariq really, he won, man. Like, to see him be able to walk free, knowing all the hell that office gave his family, like, from his father to his mother, then to him being arrested, you know, and getting that letter from his father in prison and still winning. My guy, like, his dad said, you ain't never gonna be shit. And still, in the end, Tariq walks away victorious. I've never seen a better ending for a character.
Yo, when you talk about total victory, right? Like, and I love the scene where he's talking to Tasha and he's telling her, like, yo, you can be out of WITSEC, We got no more problems. I got something set up for you and Yaz. Y'all gonna live comfortably. It's not gonna be in the city and it ain't gonna be with me. And then they have that conversation where Tariq is like, yo, I wanna be in the game. I wanna stay in the game. I cannot have a family and be in this game. Look at the Tejadas. Look what happened to Noma and Anya. Look at us.
Yeah, it makes me vulnerable, man.
As long as I'm in the game, I cannot have a family.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to go down from now, but I'm going to be all right. Maybe I'll have a family one day, and maybe that's when I'm out the game. But as long as I'm doing this, I can't have anybody close to me because you know why? That's a vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that's a liability that he will have on himself, a weakness that somebody can exploit, and he doesn't want to get an innocent killed. So he takes care of his families. He gets them out of WITSEC, and then we see how this all lines up in the end, right? Back to the original three.
Yeah.
Effie, Braden, and Tariq. Effie's going to be running the colleges.
Yep.
Just like she was before, right? Just like she was before. Effie's going to be running the colleges. So she works for Tariq pretty much once again, doing Course Perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, the new version of Course Correct, right? Then he lets them know there's a chain of command and everything goes through me. Has Braden running the fight clubs. So they still got the fight clubs. So they basically took that from Carter.
Yeah, crazy,
they took
right?
That from Carter, right? So now they got the fight club is because Drew left.
Yep.
So now Braden is going to step in and take care of the fight clubs. And he's going to take care of the underground parties, finding a new band so that they can run that. And then he also lets him know, you can work for me, but you cannot be my partner. Smart. You was fucking up over and over again. You was doing the drugs. I told you not to, and you continue to do it. If you slip up one more time, you out of here.
I loved it. That was probably the smartest decision Tariq made. I was so proud of him in that moment because we've watched Braden fuck up so many times, especially over the last few episodes, raging out and going after, the dealer, doing drugs to begin with. That right there makes Tariq vulnerable. You put him in a spot where he can't trust you to watch his six. Like, you can't have somebody like that being your right-hand person. And I was really proud of Tariq for making that decision. And even with Braden saying things like, it was never about the money for me. It was about building something with my brother. And I get that, but you got to make better decisions, my guy. Like, I can't have you fucking up the way that you've been doing over the past season. Like, this is not how it's going to work for me. If I really want to be the apex predator and I really want to run this organization the way that I know it can run, I can't have someone making stupid ass mistakes week after week after week. Like, Braden really needs to get his life together. He went through a lot, and I'm not saying that excuses him, but Braden really did lose a lot. He lost his whole family. Like, he lost all his money, and that's first world problems. But I mean, it's still a lot for someone like Braden who came from a silver spoon in his mouth, a world of privilege, to have that stripped away from you. They even taken your family's name off the building at the school that you go to. Like, that's hard for somebody. And he needs to deal with that in a way other than doing drugs. So I'm really glad that Tariq made that decision. It was smart.
Right. And even when he said, right, when he was like, I didn't do this for the money. Yeah. I wanted to build something with my brother.
Yeah.
And Tariq is like, yo, are you going to walk away from the biggest bag ever in your life?
Yep.
What you going to do? And of course, Braden said he's in because he's at a position where he's at his lowest point. He doesn't get money like that, although he still had that job from his family still, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to make this money. He wanted to be in the game. And this is what being in the game means now. And I think he didn't see it. He saw it from rose-colored glasses, and now he's getting punched in the face with a dose of reality. This is the game. Effie, also in a similar position. She down bad. She don't got her nest egg anymore. And now she needs to build it back up. So now she has to stay in the game in order to build it back up. And Tariq is the one who shows throughout the way he sets this business up that he's learned the lessons. He's learned the lessons that he's seen over these 10 years of power, and he's implementing that in his new business. And you see that when he goes to talk to Chinedu about moving the business, because clearly Noma's brother's taking over the business now, right? Yep. And he comes to him and says, "So let me move your product." And Chinedu is like, why would I trust my business in the hands of a boy,
a child
who tries to be a man? Right? So
love it.
Of course, I get that, right? Because he's like, yo, you're a kid, you're a college kid. Like, why would I trust it to you? And his monologue, and I run it back for y'all. I think it encapsulates everything that he's learned over these past few seasons and where he's at now. So he says, my people stay in line. They know better than to bite the hand that feeds them. We get straight to business. That's all it's about. We keep the peace so the police, they know to look the other way. And that's when they show the shot of Nico collecting another bag of money. Because at the end of the day, Nico wanted safe streets and he wanted to make more money than he did on a cop salary. Yeah. He got both of that with Tariq. Hey, we're just going to be moving money this way. You'll never see us. Yep. We'll be invisible.
Brilliant.
Almost like a ghost. We'll be invisible, right? And that's the scenes that we see, right? Then he says they keep their pockets full. They let us do our thing. Overseeing the financials is one of New York's finest attorneys. He keeps the money flowing and he keeps it clean. And that's the shot of Davis getting his license reinstated. Brilliant. Right? So, and he says, all I need is your product to keep everything running, right? And then the final dialogue when he tells him, like, where would you be? Chinedu says, where are you going to be when all this is happening? Yep. And he says, I'll be nowhere, right? Look, no one knows where this product is coming from. They wouldn't know where the money's going. They won't even know that we know each other. And after today, you don't even got to see my face ever again. The machine is ready to go as soon as I say go. And then he says, after that, I'm basically a ghost. And he says, yeah, a ghost. So in that moment, that's when the scene goes black and we realized he won.
He won.
He achieved the dream that he had from season 1 to be the better version of Ghost. And I think over the past 4 seasons, you've seen the way he's worked smarter, not harder. He's learned those lessons year after year. One of the biggest lessons, no emotional connections. Yeah. Yeah. Only about business and that's it. And he learned it by dealing with Diana, dealing with Effie, dealing with Lauren. All those relationships taught him that I cannot have a life and have the game. It's one or the other, because every time I try to do something for myself to please myself or something to build outside of the game somehow finds it and destroys it. That's completely decimates lives. Yeah. And I do not want to put any more innocent people in this position. That's one. 2, you think about it at this moment, at the end of Ghost, he's eliminated all of his enemies.
He sure has.
One way or another. We could go all the way back to season 1. Remember, Monet used to be his enemy.
Yep.
They ended up being cool. And I think they had the mutual respect, probably more respect than they've had for other people. Yeah. And she, unfortunately, is dead. So even the prospect with Monet being dead, with Kane out the picture, with Drew in Paris, and with Diana still around, no one knows that Tasha is the one who shot Monet.
No one.
So that's literally going to the grave. So there won't be any causes for retaliation or anything like that on Tasha. So they're good on that end. Tommy no longer wants to kill them. They have a mutually agreed respect and they've pieced it up. So that he's no longer an enemy. Junior, the officer, he took him out. Noma took her out. Carter in jail. Even we go back to the early seasons with Jabari, the teacher, and Carrie Milgram, and Mecca.
Oh God, I forgot about them. Yeah,
Poppy. They're all
Papi.
gone. They're
All of
all gone. Everyone that was a part of the original power, all those enemies, they're gone too. The DA's office no longer is even looking into him anymore.
Oh, at all.
He finally beat the DA's office too. He's completely wiped the slate clean for himself and now can operate like he is just a student. He's almost become the Kaiser Sose of the Power series.
It's brilliant. Like I couldn't have envisioned a better ending for Tariq's character. It was brilliant the way that they set it all up. I loved the ghost reference. I loved that we watched his growth over these seasons and him wanting to distance himself from his father, learning that he was more of his father than he thought, and then learning to elevate. You know, Ghost's problem was that he wanted that personal life. He wanted a life outside of the game, but the problem was the game depended on him to thrive. So it was difficult for him to separate the two. And he wanted this life with a person who literally was in the DA's office, which was crazy. And Tariq saw all of these things crumble his father's organization. So even him, the things that happened with Lauren, you know, at one point she was about to testify against him until things switched in his favor. Like, he's been through things. He's lost his child. Like, Tariq has seen pain in a different way. You don't see him express it, but you know he feels it. And I'm really glad that he was able to have the conversation that he had with Tasha a few episodes back, where he talked about having a child, and then to wrap it up here with him saying that he knows where he is in the game right now. He cannot have that in his life. He cannot have his mom and Yaz in the same city as him, because that leaves him vulnerable. That's a threat that he doesn't want to have to deal with. Their lives shouldn't be in danger because of what he does. He just sees the game differently. It's something that Ghost couldn't get past, and we won't know really why until we get into the earlier years of Ghost, young Tommy. But I love that they were able to take Tariq from killing his father to understanding who he is as a man. Like, he really gets it. And his character growth from season 1 to this ending was really better than I could have even thought it was going to end. You know, I was proud of him for literally reaching the goal that he set for himself. When he first brought out the Apex Predator shit, we were all like, there's no way. There's no way he can execute this with Noma being there, with Monet being there, with all these pieces in play. And he literally did what we watched him do in the earlier seasons with that chessboard. And he knocked those pieces down one by one by one. And his character executed it beautifully. He has a brilliant mind. And if anybody can set out to be this apex predator, it really is Tariq St. Patrick. Like, they gave him the perfect ending. I was really, really happy for him.
Right, for sure. Like, I even think about some of his other enemies, like him and the Tejadas had that rivalry for seasons. And at this point, they've kind of just been inextricably linked by this grief and by this trauma and by this common enemy that I don't even think it's worth it. Like, to this point, I don't think Kane would ever come back for Tariq again, because their business is done. They've already established, hey, we were messed up to each other and whatnot. There's no more room for rivalry because Monet is gone, right? Even think about Effie. Yeah. Effie set him up and got him kicked out of school.
Yeah, that damn
Remember the chess piece down.
Yeah.
Remember the checkmate. She got him knocked out and now she works for him.
Yep.
By being this emotionless person and just being about business and catching people at the moments where they need him, but they still respect him, but they don't have to have a personal connection. And I think that's the thing with Brayden. He's given up their friendship for the sake of the business. And that's why I said before, this Tariq evolution into Ghost 2.0 comes at a severe cost. It's a cost to his humanity, because now he's going to feel like he can't have personal relationships of any kind because it would deter from the business. It would detract from the business, and it would put him in danger. Because once again, how many times have we seen someone like a Brayden deal with a girl and let's slip what's going on in the business or something like that. These are the times where he's accumulated this information over time. Shout out to Mars, who even said he had that conversation with Tommy. Tariq spoke to him, and Tommy said, you can either be a civilian or you could be a gangster.
Yep.
There's no in between. He's had 4 seasons of his own show and a couple of seasons when he came into awareness on OG Power, where he has seen the pitfalls. He's seen his dad let an affair take him down.
Yeah.
Really was the beginning of the end.
Was.
He saw multiple. He saw that even someone like Raina, who didn't want any parts of nothing, still got clipped because of association. He saw what happened when you get cool with someone like Ghost and Tommy and how they can have a falling out just because of that relationship, and there's not an established hierarchy.
Yep.
He's eliminated all of that, and it seems like he's won, and now he's on top, and this is where they left it. And I think we as fans knew they were going to do something to keep this alive.
Yeah.
We didn't know what, we didn't know who was going to be around, but it seems like by leaving this book open-ended, they've allowed themselves to be able to build on this timeline for the future. And that's when we get the post-credit scene with him on the phone saying like, yo, we just smoke him out, whatever, say less. And clearly, I mean, you tell me. So let me see. What was he saying?
Something about family.
He's like, what's going on? He's like, I ain't hear from you in a minute. He's asking what's going on. It's like, all right, well, tell them niggas bring the smoke. We'll come lay them down the fuck out. Simple. He's like, oh, come on, we family for life. Send me the details and I'll be there. I'm on my way, right? So clearly to me, he's talking to Tommy.
Tommy, yeah. There's no one else. Who else would it be?
Right. So if we speculate now, just going real quick into it, the speculations on the post-credit scene, what does that mean? I think it could mean a couple of things. One, we might see Tariq in force towards the end. Maybe he's there for an episode or two and he's helping Tommy out with whatever this war is going to happen with him and all that stuff going on, right? If I had to guess, if he's going to show up in force, they'll probably show him calling Tariq.
Yes,
and get the other side.
Yes.
The other side of the conversation and build it like that.
Yes.
So that's one.
Yeah.
Or two, maybe this conversation happens at the end of Force. And that's how they go into whatever the new show is on this current Power timeline. Those are the two theories that I have on it. I'm leaning more towards it being in Force just because it makes sense. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking, the way Force left off with, Diamond, Jannard, all that mess that's been going on. I'm thinking, especially with him saying, tell them niggas to bring the smoke. I am definitely thinking that Tommy's going to have problems with those brothers. And he needs his family to show up for him because he's in a bind. So with his family being Tariq, we know that that's his Uncle Tommy. So I would hope that, we would see Tariq towards the last maybe 2 episodes, and that's how they would close it out. I would much rather see that than us to just get the ending of Force being that phone call. I want them to close that gap and give us those scenes. Like, I always liked the scenes with Tommy and Tariq. I always thought they had great banter. They had great conversation, but a part of me Tommy doesn't know how to trust Tariq. Tariq killed his father. He killed his best friend. He literally looked up at him as Ghost was dying in his arms. So I know that that's a hard thing for Tommy to get past. So I would love to see that happen. I would love to see those interactions a little bit more. So I'm excited. That credit scene, it got me hype. I was like, yo, like, that's gotta be Tommy. Like, there's nobody else. And I just love Tommy's character. That's why we're able to get, like you said, GTA Tommy, because like that's what this show is. Yeah. And I want to see more of it. Like, I want to see them together because I truly do believe, low key, that's what Ghost would have wanted, was for them to be able to figure it out and work together. And I don't look at Brayden as a Tommy. Tommy is a different kind of beast. He's a little bit more crazy and a little bit more erratic. So I would just love to see them try to figure that relationship out and move towards whatever this next future in the Power universe is.
Facts. 100%. Power After Hours, your favorite Power podcast. We are talking about the series finale of Ghost. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Get in the chat. Chat's on fire right now, talking all their theories, talking to everybody like that, and engaging with the show. If you're not here live, you're missing out. You should be tapped in. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Send out the link to everybody on your socials and tell them to get in here. We still rocking out. We're still talking. Let's get to the super chats. Thank y'all so much for your generosity. All right, I'll just run through them real quick. Sage, what's going on, Sage? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the generosity. Sup, y'all? This was a decent end to New Beginnings. For it being a rush script due to the writer's strike and all, Diane proved herself to be the most ruthless Tejada of all with killing Anya. Yeah. I think she definitely was, and I think she was just she was morphing into that. So
yeah. I think it's foreshadowing of her becoming like a mini Monet more than anything. Because we don't know Monet's like Monet must have gone through the worst childhood to end up as tragic as she did with when you putting drugs in your child's car seat. There's problems from your past that we need to address. So I think with everything that's happened with Diana in this season, I think they're foreshadowing her into turning into that mini Monet. But to me, Kane will forever be the illest Tejada. Like, he just didn't give any types of fucks ever. And he wrote hard for his mom until, unfortunately, he couldn't. But yeah, I love Kane.
Yeah, I think anybody who was willing to kill their brothers and sisters over killing their moms, different. Without no questions asked, different. Yeah. But yeah, she is gaining that ruthless edge. So I wanted to see where that goes from there. Thank you so much, Sage. I'll run up the rest of the ones that you have. You're so generous. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sage.
Tariq made true strides at truly being better than his daddy by creating distance with his day ones. A throne can only sit one ass, and this simple reality escape goes, hence why Reek is cold.
Yeah. Ghost really thought his ass was gonna become a politician, and that is the craziest thing. Is that nigga thought he was finna be sitting in the White House? Okay,
he flew too close to the sun, man.
He lost his way. Like, there's no way you could really think you was finna be somebody's politician. Like, Reek would never and will never. But yeah, Ghost was wilding towards the end. Like, I don't even miss.
Never forget. Tasha, please, I just lost the love of my life.
The audacity to say that to your wife, and you talking about your side piece, my nigga.
That's the love of his life. He's like, yo, love won until it didn't.
Ghost was wild.
Love won until it did, I guess. But yeah, you ought to talk about a quotable that set the world on fire, boy. Yeah. I was howling. I was like, nah, he didn't say that.
Crazy that
only a man who would say that to his wife has the audacity to try to flip into a politician after being a
trash
fake convicted drug dealer. All right, Sage, final one. See, this is why y'all top the list of my fave power commentators. Cats be on the internet whining because they can, like it's Revenge of the Nerds. Kane used the mecha teleport move, i.e. ninja appearance. Hey,
they got out of there.
Chrissy, you said it.
Yeah, I think Mecha. Yeah, that was Mecha's hanger. You know what I mean? And Kane spent a lot of time with Mecha. Like, low key was training. Like, Mecha was training him. You know what I mean? A lot like what we've seen. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, the way Kane left in that door, he knew something we didn't, and he got access to Noma in a way where he was able to take that kill shot. It was brilliant.
Yeah, 1,000%. And let's not forget. I know it was ridiculous in the moment, but he appeared behind Noma like Batman. First off,
he did.
So he found a way to sneak his way through. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say he rolled under some cars or went around and found whatever door he found to get around the hangar and get at Noma. He went through the same way he came back in. So it was still funny though. I can't front. So, you know, shout out to y'all for real, and shout out to Sage. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Let's keep it going. DeMarcus, thank you so much, man. I'm gonna run through yours. Bronze is Janet's son from Atlanta.
Oh, is that where he came from? Okay. All right. So that was
who's Bronze?
Was that not Lil Durk's character?
Oh, okay. Oh, so he was like, yo, we not even blood related.
Remember,
This was a
Janet was
solid.
there. Janet was there at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's what Dirk's character is. Yeah, I'm being what I hate because I called him by his real name and not by his character name. So yeah. So they, on top of that, they were like, yo, y'all are fam to us, but fam, we not blood. Like I gotta get out of here. So I feel that. That's what's up. Next one. Drew is about to be a housewife in Paris. Oh, bro. You want to talk about the black version of Emily in Paris?
Y'all ain't shit.
Drew,
Leave you alone.
Drew and Blanc? What?
Drew
Stop.
is living his best life. He's finna be sitting there drinking some tea and eating some crumpets. He's gonna have the best time of his life. I am excited for Drew to be able, because he's a brilliant artist. We watched him really struggle with doing his art after, his arm, was it broken or he got shot or whatever after that happened when he got in that fight. So I'm happy for Drew that he gets to finally get his moments. Leave that boy alone.
Enrique in Paris.
You wilding for that.
Not Enrique in Paris. Yo, maybe that's what it is.
Somebody
I love it for him.
Y'all are terrible.
I love it for him. Like he need to get out, and he looked like he had actual talent. So go follow your heart, bro. All right, DeMarcus, your next one. Who is more evil, Noma or Claudia?
Claudia.
Ooh, from Force.
From Force. Claudia, I would still say Noma. Well, Claudia, she don't have no feelings.
I mean, they both tried to set up. I mean, Noma actually killed her husband.
Facts. She did actually kill her husband. But Claudia, didn't she set up her daddy?
She did. It wasn't, yeah, so that might be a wash. They might both be trash. So we'll call it we'll call it that. Let's see. HFG, thank you. I love that this is part of a whole universe. Can't wait till the next series. You and me both. They say Kanan is out this winter. I would expect Force to be out around the May-June area. And then maybe we get whatever the new show is in the fall. That's what I would think. But they're probably like staggering by seasons or by years, I should say. So we will see. But HFG, thank you so much. Jacoby tapping in with us. Thank you so much, Jacoby. Let me get your joint in here. What's up, family? Baby Ghost is at the top. Yeah, bro, he won.
He won, man. Give him his props. Like he went from killing his father. Y'all remember how much we hated Tariq in OG Power? I just want to talk about that because we couldn't stand him at all. Like he literally got his twin sister killed. Okay. But his character development, people, like he said, people used to go up to the streets and just tell him he wasn't shit. Now look at us. He literally won. He set out a goal for himself. And he was able to accomplish it. He got his mother, his sister safe, and he is able to do what it is that he wants to do in life. This nigga just wants to be a drug dealer. Is it the right thing? No. But hey, let him win. You know what I mean? Let Tariq win. He deserved it. After all the shit he's been through, he deserved it. I'm happy for him.
100%. All right, Jacoby got another one. Jacoby, him and Braden still brothers, but Tariq set the boundaries, and in the end, it will help them get richer. Yeah. Plus, Braden will always have his back. Same with Effie. No grudges, just money. And yeah, I think that's what it is. He's just setting the ultimate boundaries. Like, yo, we still cool, but this is business. Yeah. I ain't getting involved with y'all personally. Like, yeah, maybe we might hang out, maybe we might do whatever, but I'm not intertwining business with pleasure because that may cloud my judgment, and I can't have that. So thanks, but no thanks, but that ain't going down. And yo, this is what he wanted, but will it fulfill him? We don't know. But I saw somebody, I remember I saw conversations about whether or not he should have done this to begin with because he didn't have to do it because he was going to school and getting his trust fund. And I remind, this is back to my whole rant about, do people actually watch these shows or are they half paying attention, right? We saw this whole time, the only reason why he wanted to go to school was to appease Tasha and Ghost. Tasha in real life and Ghost from the grave. And he had an incentive because then he could get his inheritance.
Yep.
And once he got his inheritance, then he could say, okay, I could get this money and me and my mom, like I could get out the game and we could go live somewhere. Then he made off with his money, lost his bread. And they even had that conversation. He was working jobs on school campus. They had the conversation with Brayden where he's like, yo, they went from the conversation about what it would be like just to be regular college students and not have these drug problems to an episode later. Nah, fuck that. I need this money. Yeah. I can't be working 3 jobs. I can't live this life. Nah, I need this money. However we gonna get it, we're gonna get it. Like that told you everything that you needed to know. They tried the civilian life and he said, nah, I've seen this other world and I can't get it out my mind.
It's fast money, you know?
Exactly.
It's like going from being a server, when you're a server and you're getting money every day, every shift, to working a regular 9 to 5 and you got to wait for a paycheck for 2 weeks. Like, it's kind of like that. You're used to the fast money, the fast life. You want your money right then and there. They're able to get that. Like, I'm not mad at it. But Brayden definitely, it was never about that for him. Like, it was more so about the bond that he had with Tariq more than anything. So, yeah, people just don't be watching.
Nah. Yeah, it is what it is. All right. Jaleel, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jaleel. Hey. Just showing love. Can't wait for y'all to break down Raising Kanan next. Yeah, we can't wait. We're gonna be off a few months, but we'll be tapped in when they come back. You know the rules. When they come back, we'll be back. But thank you so much for showing love, Jaleel. Appreciate that. And you are free until I see something that you said in the chat, and then we gotta run it back up. You know the rules. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. All right. Good brother Mars. What were some of your favorite moments in this series? That's a great question, man. Chrissy, I'll let you start off with it.
I gotta say, man, for me, again, it's just the character development as a whole, but I really love the laughable moments, you know, like when we get those Kane moments where he's calling Brayden Caucasian male, or, you know, he's doing these little fun bits with his family. Like, Kane's character was hilarious throughout this entire series, but also Monet, you know, her little one-liners, you know, her story, having Zeke, you know, when she was younger and then getting with Lorenzo. Like, I really just love learning about the characters in this series. Those were some of my favorite moments, like the flashbacks of Monet this season, you know, in her younger years when the kids were babies, and finding out what really shaped her into the Monet that we saw in the current series. Like, those were my favorite moments. I feel like the writers did such a great job of developing every single character on this show. And they left no crumbs, bro. Like, I really feel like they gave every character the ending that they deserved based on what we've seen them go through this entire series. So those were my favorite moments. But Kane and his little one-liners were definitely like, those were some of my favorite. What about you, Jeff?
The first season where Tariq ran everywhere when he was doing the running, that was some of my favorite moments. The scene at the Tejada dinner table when Zeke found out Monet was his mom.
Oh,
Zeke, she's not your auntie. She's your mother.
Diana stayed ruining dinners.
Yo, that was still one of my favorite. I was crying when that happened. Like, Zeke was one of the funniest, unintentionally funniest characters on this show.
Remember after he got arrested? You remember when he got arrested and he was in the car and his head was shaking like crazy? Remember that? Like, when he was losing his shit. Yeah, Zeke had some moments, bro. Yeah.
Zeke. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Let me think of some of the, like, they had a lot of the whole Monet scene where she ended up getting killed. I thought that was good. You know, Caucasian male, please come. Like, that was hilarious. When Cade slammed down Effie's laptop when he was walking away. Oh man. The end of season 1 where Monet tried to, where Tommy finally caught up to Tariq and Monet saved Tariq.
Yeah. The graveyard, man. Yeah.
Listen.
That's when I knew Monet and Tariq were going to have a bond that her kids would never understand. Like, she did not have to do that. But I also think Monet understood more about Tariq than he realized. The fact that he killed his father, like she understood the reasons behind that decision based on all the trauma that she had been through. You know, I feel like he was the son that she wished she had. And he had those moments with her when Tasha wasn't able to be there. He was able to have those conversations with Monet. I really did like their back and forth. It was kind of crazy that Tariq didn't really get to mourn Monet. He didn't really have that opportunity. And I don't even know if he really would, because he was becoming that apex predator during that time. But I did love their scenes together.
Yeah. So there's a lot. When you go through those early seasons, there's a lot of hilarious moments. And I think that's a microcosm of what I felt about the Tariq character before Ghost and after at the end. Because I even remember, I'm old enough to remember.
Are you?
When Ghost was first announced, people didn't want that shit.
They did
They're
not.
like, yo, we got to watch a series with Tariq
God, we were
as the lead. We hate this kid.
Remember, we put it at the bottom. We put it at the bottom.
We
you
did.
And I. Yeah.
And I haven't seen a transformation, a change in the Q rating and favorability of a character from in the toilet to like on a mountaintop than I have for the Tariq St. Patrick character. He went from overhated to overloved.
Yeah.
Over the course of a few seasons. For the people who said, I'm tapping into Ghost and I'm going to watch, they went from hating the kid to hating that the writers were getting you to kind of empathize and like him through the bad shit he was doing, to eventually you rooted for him. I don't think Jeff from pre-season 1 of Ghost would have reacted the same way that I did now.
No.
At this ending. If this ending happened 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, get the fuck out of here. And there's still some people who probably don't like the character that says, get the fuck out of here. But I've even heard Michael Rainey talk about it and say, he told me himself, right? Like, yo, it's crazy. Literally, it's crazy. Like, people used to come up to me and hate this character. Now they love him. Like, it's nuts. And in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't think about it. Like, you think about some of the characters that people have hated throughout the years. Like, imagine, and it wasn't just, I hate your character for what your character does. It's, I cannot stand your character. I hate that your character's on screen. I don't want to see your character anymore.
Not Raina. Yeah, we wanted, everyone was like, it should have been you.
Right.
Raina should have lived. Yeah.
And now, listen, I was at the HBCU Classic in Jersey a couple of years ago, Michael B. Jordan's HBCU Classic, right? And he was sitting courtside. There was a timeout in the game. It was like halftime, I want to say. Every young woman in that spot flooded the half court to take pictures. The cheerleaders, the fans who, once people recognize, oh, he's there, cheerleaders from both teams pull over. Can you take a picture with us? Can you take a picture with us? Fans, can we take a picture? Can we take a picture? That dude had more motion than Michael B. Jordan at one point. At Michael B. Jordan's own event. It's like, yeah, Michael, he came out and he's Michael B. Jordan. He came out and people are cheering or whatever. But the younger crowd, this was their Michael B. Jordan. This was their Denzel, the way they was reacting. And I'm sitting back amazed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that rarely with triple, A++ list talent. And this dude and his demographic, he is the leader in his demographic. And I say that with firsthand experience. That I do not think happened 4 or 5 years ago. So it's just a testament to how his characters has been built up, and the character arc has made Michael Rainey Jr. as an actor and Tariq as a character be one of the most beloved and respected characters in this Power series. And I could have bet all the money in the world against it, and I would be broke today, because it's just a testament to him and his acting and what he put into the character, and how the writers set him up for it to be ultimately believable that he could be in this position at the end of the show.
Yeah, because they could have written it and we wouldn't have bought into it. You know what I mean? Like we make it, but they did such a great job at developing each and every character to the point where, you know, Kane was setting him up and putting the cop that died's jacket in his room. Like, so many things happened to him. And, you know, I look forward to seeing what Michael Rainey Jr. is able to do post Power Universe if he is venturing outside of that. I'm excited to see what he does because he is a talented actor. And for him to even have made that character so hated to now so loved is, like you said, a testament to his acting and the writing. I'm excited to see where his future leads him. Yeah.
100%. Thank you, Mars. And then finally, Jacoby's season 1 was hilarious with Zeke and Japari. Yeah, we just ran through that. Like that whole thing was ridiculous. They was ridiculous in the most hilarious ways possible.
Yeah, man.
Unintended comedy relief for sure. So yeah, before we get out of here, Chrissy, just want to know, like, what did you think about this series overall? Like, let's retrospect. Let's give our post-mortem of Ghost as a series.
Yeah, like I said a little bit ago, like we put this show at the bottom when they announced that, you know, the OG Power was ending and they were releasing all of these shows. You know, originally Rashad Tate was supposed to have his own show. There were so many perspectives, and I think we had put like Tommy's show at the top. But yeah, we weren't really excited about book 2, and I have grown to love this show so much. Like, I was locked in. Y'all know I normally don't really watch shows on time, but the way I ran when it hit midnight to watch it, because I was so amped up and so excited to see what they were going to do. Like, episode after episode, they really built these characters. They gave us the answers that we were asking for. There were plot holes, they filled them. You know, we had questions, they answered them. Like, this turned out, the way that this show went from beginning to end, I was so disappointed with how Ghost ended. You know, OG Power, I was very disappointed with how his storyline ended and that last season and how they dragged it on. I will say, from season 1 of book 2 to how it ended, I feel like this was a complete show. They gave us what I wanted to see from beginning to end. And if I had to put it in terms of a complete show, I would put it above OG Power. OG Power had great seasons and it gave us great storylines. Don't get me wrong, but the way they ended it pissed me off. And that really can turn you off of a show, i.e. Game of Thrones. They gave us great seasons, but because of that last season, you don't hear many people talk about that shit anymore. It's like you don't even think about the magnitude and the chokehold that show had on you because they disappointed us so much with that final season. And I feel the same way with OG Power. They dragged on Who Shot Ghost way too long. And I still don't agree with the fact that Ghost had to die, but I get it now with what they needed to do with Michael J. Rainey's character. He needed that growth. He needed to transcend. And I just feel like they gave us a more complete story with book 2. And I know that's probably a hot take, but yes, I would put it above OG Power. I really do believe that. I just love the characters. I love the way they wrote them. Kane's character from start to ending. You know, Woody McClain's acting was top tier. These last 2 episodes, watching him watch his mother die, that scene broke me. And that, to me, if you can evoke emotion out of me like that, like I felt like Monet was my mom. Like I literally was in that moment with his character. And that was one of the most powerful scenes that I have actually seen. So yeah, I would actually put it above. And I hate to say that because I loved OG Power so much, but they delivered with this storyline and these characters. And I can't let that go, because even the Angie scenes when she was a ghost and OG, you know, things like that, that whole season pissed me off too. So I'm just really happy with what they did with book 2, and I really am excited to see if they choose to deliver more episodes in a different avenue. But with what they gave us, complete show, A+. Thank you to the writers. They did a great job.
Chrissy said Power Book 2 Ghost. Get OG Ghost out of here. It's all about Power Book 2 for her. Yep. You already know. Get it out of here. Whatever you thought about Ghost, we got a new Ghost now.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We don't need no goatees. We don't need no fancy suits.
We don't need.
We got college students moving weight on Ivy League campuses. What you talking about?
Yes.
What we talking about right now? I don't know though. I ain't gonna hold you. I gotta sit on that one for a minute.
Do what you
whether or not
do.
You know what I'm saying. I gotta sit with that for a minute and
look at the complete body of work. Is all I'm asking. Is for you to look at the complete body of work.
I don't know if I could go that far. I don't know if I could go that far because my hot take is if they finish it right, Raising Kanan might be the best one out of all of them. That's my ultimate hot take out of all of them. If they finish it correctly, Raising Kanan might supplant them all. But
I agree.
I do think if you take away, and you can't, but if you take away those last 5 episodes of season 6, I don't know. They needed Power to build the foundation. I think the way that they wrapped it up, I still wish Power Ghost had one more season. Like they could have set up everything that they ended up doing with 10 more episodes to flesh out some of the stuff that we were talking about, like certain scenes that were missing. And oh yeah, by the way, we were in a writer and an actor strike during that. And you know, there was the Power writers were still writing during the strike, like they wasn't submitting stuff, but they had it ready to go, I guess, on their time off for when the thing was eventually going to be over. And also shout out to Woody McClain, man. OG Vinehead went from Vine to the TV, bro.
Chris Brown.
Vine to an iconic character. Like shout out to all the OG Vine comedians and content creators who were able to elevate their game and get these awesome looks. Like he really deserved it, and you could tell even from the Bobby Brown joint to this. Like he's a mainstay. He's gonna definitely be the future. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely shout out to them. But I think it was a better series than I thought it was going to be. For whatever faults it had, I enjoyed it. And I think it ended the way it should have ended. That's just me. I was shocked that there wasn't more death and more carnage around. But I could see where some people might feel a little shortchanged with some of the decisions in the episode or things that they didn't see for it to end like this. But I am a big believer is when you're watching a show, you got to think about it as a whole and how we got to these moments. And don't forget the little moments. And you know something I might just start doing, because I know people who do it and they have a better understanding of shows when they do it. Like if you're watching a show and it's about to return, you watch the previous season before you go into the new season, or you just recap. You refresh yourself on what you've seen before, however you do it, before you go into the new season. Like we used to recap, we used to preview the shows back in OG Power After Hours days. We used to preview it by talking about, like, we had our own previously on Power.
Yeah, we
would do our own version where we would remind folks of what happened in the season before to prepare them for the upcoming season. And it's vital because once you understand and have the knowledge of what came before, you can see how the storylines develop and see whether it's coherent to you, whether it makes sense, whether they did a good job of executing the story that they wanted to tell. So yeah, I overall, I had fun with this. I had fun with the episode. I think for this final season, with everything that they overcome, looking at it through the lens, I think the season was good.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. I didn't have times where it felt like a chore watching it. I'm still sad to see it go, but I'm excited to see what they have cooking up in the future.
Yeah, man. It's a bright one for all of them. All the actors in that show, they were spectacular. I'll give it to them. Even Diana, as annoyed as we were with her, she did a great job. Good job, Diana. Mhm.
Facts. And shout out to Jaleel who says that season 2 of OG Power is his favorite. That's me.
No, now fact.
Season 2 OG Power is probably one of the best single
When
seasons.
Ghost was clearing
Yeah.
heads, my God, when Ghost was ghosting, it's unlike anything we've seen. Okay,
That was the apex predator. Like that season, Raising Kanan season 1,
yeah,
low key season 2 as well, but season 1 of Raising Kanan, season 2
That was
of
a
OG
show.
Power, probably season 1 of Ghost. Those was like fire seasons. So
I mean, that's what got us all to subscribe to Stars. So we can't.
I mean,
We know
yeah.
Stars some time now. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, that does it for the Power Ghost series wrap.
Wow.
Final episode recap. And where they go from here, we don't know. Like, the good thing about the way they left the show is that all those characters are still in the Power universe. So whatever they want to do from this point forward, you know, Kane is still out there lurking around.
He is.
I wouldn't be shocked if he stumbled into Chicago
I wouldn't either.
and got in on this act, which might be ill, right?
Yeah.
Still got to see what happens in Raising Kanan. Now, I've spoke about this before. I think it would be ill if when they end Raising Kanan, if there were certain characters that were still alive,
That show
maybe
up.
older versions of them can show up in the current Power timeline.
You've said that
depending
for a
on
while.
what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think they have a unique, no pun intended, a unique opportunity to bring characters from the prequel into the current era. And I've seen this done with video games. I've seen this done with other series where you'll have flashbacks. Shoot, Spartacus did that on Stars, where they shot a whole season where it was pretty much a prequel season, where they were showing all the events and the characters to where they to get them to the point. Yeah, because the original lead passed.
Yeah.
So I think while they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, they shot a prequel season. And then when they introduced the new actor, some of those characters from the prequel season that you didn't see in season 1 ended up in those subsequent seasons. So I think that would be ideal. That would be ideal, something dope that they could do. But we don't know. But one thing we do know is #Power never ends.
Yes.
So it's gonna keep on going, and you know, while we're able and we got the love and we got the technology, Power After Hours is gonna go on too. So I think that's it. Chrissy, you got anything else? Any parting words?
Nah, man. Sad to see it go, but excited for where they ventured to. So yeah, that's it.
That's how I feel as well. Thank y'all so much who tapped in for this 2+ hour episode recap of Power Book 2 Ghost, and really a finale post-mortem, series finale retrospective on Ghost and where they can go going forward. We got Raising Kanan up next this winter, probably followed by Force. Probably followed by Origins, and then another episode of Raising Kanan. I wouldn't be shocked if we hear an announcement on what's next with Power during the Raising Kanan season, or definitely in the Force season. Well, we have to hear something. So definitely keep your eyes open for that.
I can see them announcing the end of Raising Kanan at some point, because it leading it into Young Tommy, Young Ghost. So I can see somewhere that's gonna have to, because those paths have to intersect as well. So so it's got to at some point. So we'll see when they decide to do that.
Yeah, because I don't think Raising Kanan gets more than 4 seasons, although they could run it.
I agree.
If Ghost only got 4 seasons, if I was the Raising Kanan crew, and I think they already got approved or renewed for season 4.
They did.
I tell my story in the next 2 seasons and get out.
Get it out.
Before they pull the rug under.
I agree.
20 more episodes, finish this origin story. And then, of course, that last episode is probably going to tie into Origins. And then they hand off the baton there, right? So we'll see what happens with Raising Kanan and with Origins. And then, now with the specter of Tariq and possibly other characters, because here's the other thing that real quick I'll throw out. The Southern District knows, I believe they have an idea that Tommy's still alive.
They have to.
Because of what's going on in Chicago. So the feds are still looking into Chicago. So what happens if they pop up and they see Tariq in Chicago?
He's back in trouble again.
He's back in trouble again. So just something to think about. Chrissy, where can the people find you?
Thanks for the song. They can find me at Chrissy B. Davis everywhere you peruse online. What about you, Jeff?
I am Jeff J. Says on all social media. Jeff J. Says also on YouTube. Tap in with us. We're going to be talking NBA betting, culture, and all of that. So if you're a fan of sports, you will be a fan of us. Tap in with that. So always every Friday, you could catch me, Casual Friday, on Knicks Film School, talking all things Knicks week wrap up and cool conversations with our staff, with special guests, and with our community. Just like this is a dope community, so it's a dope community over there. You could also find me on TNT Sports The Line on True TV 6:30 when I pop up. I'm there sometimes. You just got to find out where it is. And if you're listening to highlights on NBA.com and you hear a familiar voice, you're not wilding. It's probably me. So those are all the places where we could catch out. And shout out to the chat. They said that Raising Kanan got renewed for season 5. I might be dumbing out. Is this season 4 coming up?
Yeah, I feel like we said that like 2 weeks ago. Like I remember them telling us that before. I think we keep thinking this is season 3, and it's actually probably season 4. Or they got renewed. I remember whatever they're releasing next, they were already renewed for the next season.
I'm wilding. So right in the sense that they probably have 2 more seasons, but they will be at season 5. So I misspoke. Sorry about that. I think after whatever the latest season they got renewed for, I believe it's going to be their last. So
Jaleel can't wait to correct your ass too. He was waiting. His ass was like, "Oh, it's season 5. It's season 5." Jaleel, we hear you. Okay.
I will not.
Protecting my brother now. I'm over it.
Jaleel donated to the cause, so I'm shooting him some bail. He is free until further notice. He is free, yo. He is free. He has risen, and he has not been slandered. So that's Jaleel. Where it is.
Sometimes I gotta protect Jeff. Sometimes I gotta
Jaleel,
protect
not to throw you under the bus, but her name is Chrissy, not Christy, bro. Damn,
and
that's crazy.
Another reason why I'm on your ass. My name has never been Christy. Get it together.
It's never been, actually. Like in the history of Chrissy, it's never been Christy. My man didn't even put the star. He just put the name like we supposed to forget. See, I wasn't even trying to do this, Jaleel. I'm trying to get off. Oh, typos. He said it's autocorrect been kicking his ass. Autocorrect been kicking your ass, Jaleel. Damn, that's crazy.
I'm on the iPad. Excuses.
Oh, because you know, Jaleel got that cash. So he got cable. He knew when stars. He knew the runtime. My man is on his iPad because being on the TV was a bit too cumbersome for him. So he wanted the portability.
It's on the guide. Remember when he said that shit last week? We was
Jaleel,
like, yo.
her name isn't Christy, love. Her name is Chrissy Brienne Davis. What are you going to do? You're going to go on the iPad or you're going to switch to the computer?
What are you going to do, Kane?
What are you going to do, Jaleel? What are you going to do?
Jesus. Poor Jaleel. Poor Jaleel.
Well, shout out to y'all.
Love y'all, man. We'll be back in the month.
That's crazy. He said, Bars said autocorrect kicking his ass like the boots was kicking Anya's ass. Y'all look crazy, man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all for tapping in with us.
Yeah, man.
We out of here. We will see you when you hear. Whenever Raising Kanan's going to launch, just know that Monday we will be back with another episode of Power After Hours, and keep your eyes and your ears and your devices tuned into this channel, because whenever we have some surprises, y'all will be the first to know. And before we get out of here, the buzzer, be more. It's been a great ride this season with y'all. We'll do this again for Raising Kanan. Be more. Thank you so much for your generosity. We appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in with us. Thank you for always tapping in. For those of y'all who are live, if you've been live for the first time, don't let it be your last time. And if you haven't gotten a chance, circle back for Raising Kanan, and we will be here. All right, y'all. Shout out to everybody. Jaleel, Mars, Be More, Miriam, Westbrooks, Power TV fans, as always. Martin, Devin, Roz, I saw you in there. Daz, G, Hope, Lee, Sean. If I missed you, that my scroll didn't go too crazy. So appreciate y'all. Anybody who contributed, I saw y'all. We love and appreciate. We getting out of here. It's been great, y'all. We will see you for Raising Kanan Season 4, Episode 1 when it drops. Y'all be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
I want you to sing it with me. They say this is a big rich town. Yeah, yeah. I just come from the poorest part. Bright light, city light, I gotta make it. This is where it goes.